What happens when a man with iron chains corner an 18-year-old boy on a dark roof? Most people would freeze, some would beg for mercy, but on a humid night in Hong Kong, 1958, this specific boy did something else. He stepped forward, and in less than 2 minutes, he dismantled the local Triad crew. His name wasn't yet written in Hollywood history, he was just a street fighter. His parents were terrified, the police were looking for him. This is the hidden story of the rooftop wars that created a legend. The year is 1958, Hong Kong is a pressure cooker. Thousands of refugees, extreme poverty, and streets controlled by gangs. For teenage boys, fighting wasn't a hobby, it was the only currency that mattered. They called them BAMO, unregulated, brutal rooftop matches with zero rules. No gloves, no referee, no time limits, and at the center of this underground world was a cocky kid named Bruce. He was obsessed. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to decode combat. When you look at his early training, you see a mind analyzing human movement like a machine. But the local Triad gang saw him as a threat to their authority. They decided to set a trap he couldn't run away from. They invited him to a rooftop in the Shak Kip Mei district. A classic BAMO setup, or so he thought. When Bruce arrived, he realized the rules had changed completely. For man stepped out of the shadows. And they weren't holding martial arts stances, they were holding weapons, iron chains, wooden clubs, and blunt blades. In traditional martial arts schools, you are taught to bow before a fight. You are taught to expect fairness, structure, and respect, but the street has no memory of respect. The street operates on pure malice. The gang leader lunged forward, swinging the chain directly at Bruce's head. This was the exact second where traditional Wing Chun usually fails. Why? Because forms are designed for clean environments, not for chaos. If Bruce tried to execute a perfect block, the chain would wrap around his arm. He didn't block, he bypassed the weapon entirely. He exploited the ultimate flaw of a swinging weapon, the recovery time. Before the chain could swing back, Bruce closed the distance to exactly 12 inches. A straight, untelegraphed strike right into the gangster's throat. There was no cinematic scream, just the sound of a collapsing airway. One man down. 3 seconds elapsed, but the worst was yet to come. The remaining 3 realized this wasn't a normal target. They attacked all at once. When you are outnumbered, your brain panics and triggers tunnel vision. You focus on the threat in front of you, completely ignoring the threat from behind. Bruce knew this mechanism. He used a tactic called lining up. He constantly shifted his position, making sure one gangster blocked the path of the other. He turned a 3-on-1 fight into a series of fast 1-on-1 matches. He delivered a lightning-fast low kick to the knee of the second attacker. The second man's knee buckled from total system failure. Bone against concrete, 40 seconds, to attacker's left. The atmosphere on the roof completely shifted. They were no longer the predators, they were trapped on a roof with one. And that's when Bruce decided to end the match permanently. The third man panicked, blindly swinging a heavy wooden club. Bruce didn't step back, he stepped inside the swing, neutralizing the weapon's leverage. A rapid succession of 3 straight punches completely shattered the man's jaw. He went down instantly, static, unconscious. The last remaining gangster dropped his blade. He broke, he turned around, desperately looking for the exit door. But the door was locked. The trap they built for Bruce was now his prison. 1 minute and 45 seconds, that's all it took to clear the roof. Most people would celebrate, they would see this as the ultimate proof of their power. But Bruce stood there in the humid night air, looking at his hands, and felt a cold chill. He realized something terrifying. He had almost lost. The hidden mechanism of real violence had just shattered his entire world. For years, he had trained in traditional Wing Chun under the legendary master IP Man. He had practiced forms, sticky hands, and perfect technical responses. But on that roof, none of his perfect forms went according to the textbook. He won because of raw athleticism, survival instinct, and pure chaos. Traditional martial arts had built a beautiful, structured simulation of a fight. But the simulation forgot one crucial variable, a human being trying to murder you with a chain. This realization didn't make Bruce proud, it made him systematically reconstruct his entire style. He began stripping away everything that was purely decorative. If a movement didn't directly stop an attacker in the shortest line possible, it was a liability. But the consequences of the rooftop war were already catching up to him. The Triad crew he dismantled wasn't just a bunch of low-level street thugs. They were connected to the powerful families of the Hong Kong underground. The word was out, the actor's son had crossed the line. One morning, Bruce's father, a famous opera star, came into his room. He didn't shout, he didn't lecture, he just handed Bruce a one-way ticket. The message was clear: stay in Hong Kong, and you will end up in a ditch. With $100 in his pocket and a mind full of unresolved combat theories, Bruce boarded a ship. He left the rooftops behind, but the hidden mechanism of the street followed him across the ocean. When he arrived in America, he saw the exact same problem in a different skin. Martial arts schools in America were operating like closed, secretive cults. They taught ancient secrets, demanded total obedience, and never tested their skills against real opposition. Bruce opened his own school in Oakland, but he broke the cardinal rule of Chinatown. He taught anyone who had the hunger to learn, white, black, Hispanic. It didn't matter to the traditional masters in San Francisco. This was a massive betrayal. They believed the secrets of Kung Fu belonged only to the Chinese bloodline. They sent him an ultimatum, an ornate scroll delivered directly to his gym. The terms were brutal: stop teaching outsiders, or face our champion in a closed-door match. If Bruce lost, he had to shut down his school forever and stop practicing. They chose Wong Jackman, tall, highly disciplined, a master of Northern Shaolin style. He was the perfect embodiment of the traditional simulation. They expected Bruce to back down. They thought the young rebel would respect the hierarchy. But Bruce didn't respect hierarchies, he respected efficiency. Bruce, leading in his gym, cast off his light jacket, remaining in a single undershirt, ready to fight. The fight took place in December 1964. Oakland, no cameras, no crowd. Wong Jackman stepped forward, raised his hand in a traditional Shaolin salute. Bruce skipped the salute. The second the referee said go, Bruce lunged like a wild animal. Wong was shocked. He expected a chess match. Bruce brought a street riot. Bruce unleashed a barrage of rapid straight punches, driving Wong across the room. Wong turned his back and started running to create distance. The match turned into a chaotic chase. Bruce was striking him from behind. After 3 minutes, Wong tripped and fell to the floor. Bruce pinned him down, shouting in Chinese, "Do you give up? Do you admit it?" Wong Jackman surrendered. The traditional master had fallen. Bruce won. The school stayed open, but when the witnesses left, Bruce did something bizarre. He sat down on the steps of his gym, buried his face in his hands, and started breathing heavily. His wife, Linda, walked up and asked him what was wrong. "You won," she said. Bruce looked up and said, "It took too long. It should have been over in seconds." The hidden mechanism had caught him again. He realized his training had failed him. 3 minutes of fighting a real human being had left him completely exhausted. His lungs were burning, his hands were swollen, and his clean techniques had turned into a sloppy brawl. The traditional system had lied to him again. It promised total control, but delivered vulnerability. That night, 1964, was the actual birth of Jeet Kune Do. He abandoned all traditional styles. He stopped being a Wing Chun stylist. He began analyzing fencing, Western boxing, and human biomechanics like a scientist. He realized that the human body has predictable failure points. If you hit a man, asked Joe, at a specific angle, the brain collides with the skull, causing instant shutdown. If you disrupt the solar plexus, the diaphragm locks, and the system crashes. He stopped fighting the person, he started fighting the biology. Which brings us back to where we started, Thursday night, March 1971. Madison Square Garden. Mike Stone stands there, confident, protected by his rules, his titles, and his trophies. He thinks he understands combat because he has won hundreds of tournament points. But he doesn't know that the man standing in front of him has spent 12 years deconstructing chaos. Mike points at his own chest and says, "Hit me, full power." I don't go down. Bruce measures the distance, just 18 inches. The exact range of biology versus simulation. He doesn't wind up. He doesn't give a single visual cue. He strikes. The movement is so fast that the human eye cannot register the acceleration. A pure, targeted disruption of the human system. Mike Stone didn't fly back across the ring like in a movie. His lungs emptied completely, his diaphragm locked, his knees buckled. 8 seconds, the career of a world champion was effectively over. Not because Bruce was a wizard, but because Bruce stopped playing the simulation. We live our lives inside built structures. We follow rules, we build routines, we collect titles. We think we are prepared for reality because we are doing well inside the simulation. But the hidden mechanism of the world doesn't care about your rules. Chaos doesn't send an ultimatum, it just corners you on a dark roof. And in that exact second, your titles, your certificates, and your plans will mean absolutely nothing. The only thing that will matter is how much of the decorative lies you have stripped away. You are not losing to the world, you are losing to the illusion of control they sold you. Strip away the forms, face the biology. break the simulation.